So, the third adhyaya, as we progress forward, emphasizes the philosophical aspect of karma. First few shlokas have already highlighted the inevitability, the essential nature, and even to the extent that telling almost a human being that you are condemned to act. You shall act. Act is what you will define you as human beings. After the instructions to act have been given, one would naturally have a curiosity to know, why should I act? Why should I act with enthusiasm? What should be the basis of my understanding so that while acting, while doing karma, I will have a creativity involved in it, enthusiasm involved in it. And to explain that, Bhagavad Gita gives us a wider glimpse, a broadened view, so that we can understand that how in the enormous chain of succession that is following everywhere, how you happen to be a part of that huge machine, yantra, which the Lord has unleashed. The very reason of we getting involved into the unleashment is Lord's wish. But very involvement itself is creating so much of pain to me. So is it that the Lord wanted me to be in pain? That is why he put me into this particular contraption? On one hand, you say it is Lord's contraption. On the other hand, you say the contraption is giving me enormous amount of pain. So by Anuman or Tarka Shastra, the contraption is made by Lord. I am having enormous pain in this particular contraption. So Lord's contraption is painful. This is normally the way Tarka Shastra goes. Anumana Prakaran goes this way. But is that so? Is that stupid question raised in a film song, Kahe ko duniya banai, is that something which Lord has in mind so that everybody should suffer? And can the divine purpose of creation be so bad that everybody should suffer? And if it is not so, then why am I suffering? The answer to this $1,000,000 question is coming in this part of Karma Yoga. The Lord has definitely created the creation. It was his play. It was his divine sankalpa. Anything that springs from divinity has to be divine and cannot be otherwise. And if that is the case, then anything that is divine cannot be painful. If it cannot be painful, and if I am suffering from pains and sorrows, it goes without saying that the logical corollary is I am understanding the game in a different way. To set our understanding right so that we can get a solution, a permanent solution to our sorrows and pains, Bhagavad Gita Mata is giving us the kaleidoscopic view of the world, the creation, which Revered Gurudeva says, cosmic will of cooperative action. You are here not as an individual entity specifically created, but you are an entity in the cause and effect succession, where you will be ascribed a particular role, bhumika, based on your competency, exemplified by the gunas, which shall be dependent upon your attitude and capability that you exhibited so far. If you happen to be the most robust part of the machine, more load will be given to you because you're capable of handling it. Your shoulders are broad and strong. If you happen to be a very, very weak person, a minuscule role will be given to you in the whole contraption. If you complain about the minusculity, thinking that I'm so small, I'm so poor, Lord has been absolutely impartial to me, you are mistaken, sir. You were not capable in the first place. That is why you were condemned there. And it is not a condemnation. A smallest screw in a machine is as vital and important as a large organ. Howsoever the large organ may look larger, obvious to the eyes, and a minuscule screw may not be noticed, may go unnoticed. But the fact remains that it is the interdependent, interactive, cooperative action that makes the machine work. So is the Lord's machine. The pulley that works in a machine, it gives the speed to the next pulley so that the machine keeps moving. The four wheel in a car creates a motion so that the back wheel goes into the motion. If this is the case, then comes the question, what is in it for me? Why should I do everything for others without thinking anything for me? It doesn't seem to be a logical thing. Everybody at the end, when he performs anything, shall or might expect something for him. If nothing, if somebody is working on a job and is not paid for a year, he will naturally think, what am I working for? He may not cherish in his mind his own share, agreed. He should be content with what is given to him, agreed. But nothing coming to him cannot happen. And that is why Gurudeva in his own words says, do not worry, profiteering is guaranteed. Like a policy of LIC, this is one endeavor of Karman where your returns are guaranteed. Guaranteed by whom? Underwritten by Lord himself. Then comes the question, on one hand you say don't expect anything, on the other hand you say there will be profiteering. Are you not contradicting yourself? No, sir, it is not a contradiction. How it is not a contradiction? And then it is said that why it is not contradiction is because of yajnasya shishtam ashnanti saha yajna shishtashinaha. Who are the yajna shishtashina? You are the yajna shishtashina, or you should be, or you ought to be yajna shishtashina, meaning yajnasya shishtam ashnanti saha yajna shishtashinaha. You shall be eating what comes to you after you have performed. Sir, this is very important. Underlining word is after you have performed, something will come to you. What something will come? Why it is called remnant? Remnant is not that two morsels are thrown to you and rest every rice plate has been taken away by somebody. No, sir, that is not the meaning of Sanskrit word shishta. Because English is an inadequate language, it cannot go beyond remnant, which gives you that feeling of something that is being left over and given to you. The word shishta, if you look at the etymology of the word shishta, shishta means prescribed and prescribed for you. That is the reason why another word for those people who believe in this philosophy and take this remnant or so-called what is coming to you by way of divine design, not by way of your wish. You may do a work of 1 rupee and you may ask for 1,000 rupees, sir. The world doesn't go that way. What is to be given for your effort is decided, judged by whom? The owner of the machine. The Lord decides the wages. The wage will come to you. You keep doing your work. The wage that comes to you is system prescribed. That is why the one who believes in this divine philosophy and beholds the way Lord wants us to behave, such people are called shishta. Shishta is a word in Hindi and Sanskrit and other languages also. This man is shishta. Shishta means even the word system has got relationship with shastum, disciplined, cultured. What is disciplined and culture? Shasanat, the one who believes in the divine law and absolutely sticks to the discipline of divine law. So yajna shishta, such a person is santo, the righteous one. Muchante sarva kilbishaihi. He will be relieved, he will be completely released from the kilbisha, the papam, the sins. Then you will say, sir, no, I'm a very, very pious person. I do not commit any sin, sir. I'm so devoted and so pious. My dear sir, you may not be knowing, because the world, the cosmos is interdependent on each of the jivas and the bhutas both. Take an example of you going to office. Very nicely you drive your car and go to the office. Sir, have you realized how many animals or how many insects you might be killing under your tire? Who is responsible for it? Did you not run over them? Yes, but I am not aware of it. I was going to the office. Your unawareness has nothing to do with somebody's death. Now we understand, when Kandanam Peshanam Chulli Udaka Bajjam Marjani Panchasuna Grasthasya Pachayajnat Pranashyati, when this was told, we thought it is for the Vedic times, because now who is going to put the morsels in the in that particular stone or morsel and what that? So we feel that is an ancient concept. No, sir, the concept is same, even now applicable. Pancha Vidhi, even today you do. What you do in your mixer is same. There is no Peshanam, but what you are doing in mixer is Peshanam. So only the apparatus has changed, the shape has changed, action remains the same. So while performing, forget about all this, the most pious activity of doing the Archanam and Puja and Arati of the Bhagavan, when you are saying Om Jaya Jagadish Hare, there are insects coming and dying because of your flame of the Jyoti. No, but I didn't mean it. There is no question of you meaning it, sir. Had your Jyoti been not there, that small insect couldn't have been killed. Whether you have the intention or no intention, unintentionally also, we are bound to lead our life by unknowingly, unintentionally destroying some life. And such life, do you think the insect that is getting burnt? Some people have insect killer in the restaurant. There is an insect killer. The flies get killed in that, and we are eating dosa. Why the restaurant is running? Because you're eating. Are you not contributing as a part along with the restaurant owner in killing the flies? No, but how my role is not? No, sir. It is simple. You think the fly that gets killed in that insect killer machine is not going to curse the one who caused my death? In such situation, while performing pious duty, any deaths or so occurring shall not be considered as a sin, because the higher ideal of the yajna outwits the killing that is done during the process. In fact, the yajna itself was a place. There's a famous example of Kabir and Dharmaraj, one of his Dharmadas, his closest disciple. Dharmadas was a very pious man. He was ahimsavadi, and he used to do lots of yajnas. On the Banaras, on the Ghat, when he was doing a very huge yajna and distributing lot of dhanam, Kabir Maharaj was walking from the side and he said, "Oh, how many things are getting killed here." Dharmadas was startled. He was surprised. He went to Kabir and asked, "Maharaj, I am doing yajna, such a big yajna, and you are saying I'm killing people, everything, jivas?" He said, "The samidha that you are offering, it was full of insects. So what did you do? In the garb of yajna, you killed the insects." Dharmadas was startled. He said, "No, I am ahimsavadi. How did I do this himsa?" And then Kabir told him that the equation is not like this. Dharmadas, for everything that you do, there will be destructions happening knowingly or unknowingly, but all those who are performing that will be exonerated on the basis that they are doing or looking at some higher ideal. Swami Vivekananda said, "The moment I open my mouth, millions of germs are getting killed." So perfect ahimsa in the technical terms is not something that is expected. What is expected is, as long as the act is helping in continuing the cooperative actions of the cosmic laws as ordained by the Lord, anything done in the spirit of divine law shall always be considered as muchante sarvakil bishaihi. The problem is when somebody, without contributing his role in the cosmic cooperative action, decides to have his share. Every one of us thinks कि कुछ करना नहीं, आराम करूं पैसा मिल जाए. We have a stupid goal in our life. I want to invest here, I want to invest there, I want to do this, and then do nothing and enjoy the fruits. Sir, it is a stupid way of thinking. You shall continue to work till the last breath of your life. Because without the contribution in your role, I know I'm a grandfather, how can I contribute? I'm 80-year-old, sir. Even at the time of death, you have something to contribute. A dying person also, if he looks through his eyes in a kind manner, giving gratitude to the sisters or the nurses who are nursing him, you have done the job of contributing in the cosmic law. A grandfather, if he's spending his time in teaching children, inculcating good values in them, sir, you are a part of the cosmic law. The action is on. Retirement is in government books or the company's books. In Lord's company, there is no retirement. That is the reason yachanto bhavati itiva, the place where you do yachana is called yajna. What yachana? Hey Lord, I hope I have performed the duty that you gave to me. I was made a CEO, you gave me that job. I have completely executed my job and I've tried to see that the company is in profit and everybody gets their salary on time. I hope I have done my job, and full stop. There is no comma saying that now Lord give me a promotion. That comma is not there. Now in the course of action, somebody says that, okay, there will be some ESOP or employee share option will be given to you. Be happy. The remnant, the shishta has come to you. Ashinaha. Now you can eat it, no problem. But saying to the chairman that, I have controlled so well, the expenditure is controlled well, I have paid everybody, we made so much profit, give me my share, sir, the yajna spirit is destroyed. And that is why if we do not perform the yajna properly, then what happens? We create sins. And Gurudeva's golden statement, of course, the mastery of English oozes from every narration that he gives. Sins of the past are the causes of present pains. And the present sins would be the cause of future sorrows. The entire philosophy is told in only 2 lines by Gurudev. Sins of the past means you did not contribute in the yajna. That's why you are suffering. Now tell me one thing. How can we say, Lord, I am so good a person. Why do you don't give me a little more money? Why you are giving me so much trouble? Lord also says, my dear disciple, don't worry. You created sins earlier, so I had to give you pains. If you don't want pains, then do the yajna. I will give you happiness. No, but I again do some pains and I expect boya ped babul ka aam kahan se hoye? Acacia tree seed has been planted. You can't get mangoes. So similarly, no yajna has been made. You did everything. Bhunjate to agham papa. Your papa my action, and you expect oh ho. No, no, sir. Sau chuhe maar billi haj chali doesn't work. And the reason for this yajna is the Lord is again explaining, because somebody may say, Lord, why do you have this so-called cooperative action and all that? He says, look, you will not survive otherwise. How can I not survive? Annad bhavanti bhutani. Annad bhutani. If you look at the detailed study of Bhashyam of Shankaracharya on Brahma Sutra, there is a beautiful concept discussed there. We all know that the Linga Sharira after the death goes away with its vasanas and is waiting for a new body to be taken up. It's all true that a new body is to be taken up. But how that vasanas are a jada. So vasanas, although they are in absolutely microscopic or submicroscopic form, when they enter into a particular place to regain a body, where do they enter to regain the body? In the mother's womb. Now, when they reach into the mother's womb, there must be some via media to reach into the mother's womb, which is described in Brahma Sutra, where it is said that in the form of the vasanas go upwards, they levitate upwards, and then through the rains, they gravitate down. So in the apas, the rains, the vasanas, the sukshma shariras, they come down, then they enter into the grains. Those grains are eaten by the requisite father. The requisite father's body, those sukshma vasanas will become the sperm. That sperm will then go and get implanted, and then the body formation of that bundle of vasanas would start, along with the portion of vasanas meant for that particular life. That is how the body is obtained for the sukshma vasanas, which are left over in the linga sharira. Now the question is, Annad bhavati bhutani. Yes, who will nourish that particular thing? The nourishment of that will come from annam. So the annam will come from that food. The food itself, that anna will become virya, that will become bhuta. That is why, and that anna is possible if there is parjanya. If there is no parjanya, anna cannot come. How will the next birth be coming? In order to have that, yajnat bhavati parjanyaha. Rainfall of profiteering, as Gurudeva calls it. So that is why when yajnat bhavati parjanya, now sir, where is the yajna? There is no yajna anywhere. In fact, Gurudeva has given beautiful analogy saying that if that is the case, only Hindus will be having rains. There should be no rains anywhere. It is not so. Yajna of today is the work that I am doing. But I am an MBA and a CEO. That itself is a yajna, sir. When you perform your role in your organization, what are you doing? You are imparting your own efforts and intelligence and buddhi and decision making and whatnot, everything to the company, so that the company gets benefited. In turn, the company becomes a vehicle to benefit the employees that are working there, who in turn then feed their own families, who in turn then get further education. Sir, it is only cosmic law of dependence. And what is the human tendency? To break this chain. Why? Because everything should come to me. It will never come to you. Anything that goes in reverse tide will lead only to revolution. Then you have Bolshevik revolution or the Maoist revolution or whichever capitalistic revolution. Nothing will work. Hindu socialism only can work. Why? Because it is based on divine cooperation. What is Hindu socialism? Lord's way of working and living in this world. That is why it is bound to last. Why? Because Lord's thing only last. And that is the reason everyone contributes. Sir, a stone also contributed so much when the Rama built a bridge. All right, everybody said Shri Ram, and lifted the bridge. Even the squirrel came and started to plaster the clay there. But all that happened. Even the dead clay and the stones, they became a part of cosmos action because they formed a bridge. If one stone would have said to the other stone, I'm not going to work, will the bridge work? Then will the Rama cross the bridge? And then will the Sena go there and destroy the... Nothing is possible. So nobody is small. Lord Rama being Lord, his contribution was greatest. And the stone and the squirrel, no. That is the reason why Bhagavan Sri Ram took the squirrel in the hand, saying that I admire what? Yajna spirit. And that is why karma brahmodbhavam. And that particular question has come by Sureshji, that Brahma, except Gurudeva, nobody is talking about creator Brahma. Everybody is talking of Veda. Mind well, the trick lies in that word, Brahma. By etymology, the word points to the Vyapti, Vibhur Vyapyata. But we must understand the exoteric aspect of Brahma, the exoteric aspect of Avyakta is Brahma. But the esoteric aspect, the philosophical aspect of Avyakta is Agama, the Vedas. So all other commentators are focusing on the esoteric aspect. So they are talking of Agama and Veda. Gurudeva knows very well that the readers may find it difficult to get the esoteric aspect. That how is it that everything is coming from a book? Because Vedas means we think it is a book. Because we have a stupid concept in our mind that Vedas means Ayurveda, Atharvaveda, Suktas, and sir, it is the effervescence, the knowledge that is coming, emanating out of it, which is the most primal knowledge of humankind. That is what the esoteric aspect of Veda is, which is also Brahma, because that is what has created everything. Brahma means creation. So the creative faculty of the Lord in the appearance form has been ascribed to Brahma. That is why Gurudeva has taken Brahma the creator here rather than Agama the creator. Gurudeva has given certain very nice aspects in the commentary, that invoking rains is not something a fictitious thing. Who else can comment on the control on the Panchamahabhutas except he himself, who has definitely exhibited, and I have heard it from Jairamji, that on one occasion he was able to even postpone the rains for the function of Hanuman Mastaka Abhishekam. So that is why an authoritative person is saying that no doubt it is a fact that there is a technique of invoking rain through ritualistic activities. In all fields of activity, there is an enjoyable profit which can be gathered only when the fields come under the conditions favorable to them. So self-dedicated activity is yajna. Gurudeva's definition of modern yajna. Self-dedicated activities, when performed in any given field of endeavor, will be creating therein conditions necessary for the field to smile forth. Smile forth is rain in the luxurious crop of profit, annam, which will be enjoyed by the society, not myself alone. That is the cooperative endeavor which we normally try to do, so that the world becomes a Satya Yuga place. Sir, the only difference between Satya Yuga and Kali Yuga is, in Satya Yuga, everybody followed the Yajna spirit, and the Kali Yuga is Kali Yuga simply because one by one, down the line, each generation is neglecting the Yajna spirit. To an extent where the modern parents are inculcating in the minds of the children how to think to only to themselves. No father, no mother teaches the child that, keep giving, be happy with others, share everything with others. They say that iske beech mein mat pado, uske beech mein mat pado, apna pehle dekho, look after your interest first. Sir, it is anti-yajna teaching. We have seen our parents. I have seen my parents doing every night, even though they had no money, they had intention to help others. They had 5 rupees, they gave 2 rupees or 1 rupee to somebody. Sir, we have thousands of rupees, but we don't even contribute to Gurudeva's organization. So much for our yajna activity. That is because we speak a lot, we don't act. Why? Because the entire Bhagavad Gita is restricted up to throat. It never goes here in the brain. If it really goes, then I can still understand that I must have all the comforts for myself and then I want to give others. But there are people basking in luxuries and still don't give. A poor man gives because intentions are very clear. Because even today in most of the slums, you will find the cooperative endeavor, but not in the apartments because the next door neighbor is not known to you. In a place like Western world, a place like Canada, where I had experience of staying, every weekend, everybody from the same building travels 100 kilometers to meet the friend, but they don't have a friend 1 meter besides in the other neighborhood. What it indicates is yajna spirit is destroyed by us, and then we complain the days have become very bad. Kali Yuga, why it will not come, sir? Kali Yuga, you are destined to be in Kali Yuga. That is why, at least at the age where we are, we must think. And not that every time when you want to become a cooperative endeavor, a yajna spirit, money is required. Extend your hand of help to an old man who is crossing the road. Extend your hand, words to make somebody smile. Because our own face is as if 12 baj gaye. Sullen, serious face. Smile everywhere. Distribute smile. Talk to people. Be or in the train, talk to the next neighbor, see how, and then don't try to tell him how big I am. No, try to see wherever there is a pain, jump there, help them. Jiva Seva, Shiva Seva. And that is the real yajna. The only yajna that is possible is to remain alive to serve others. Hari Om.